I'd hope by 4 a.m. on a Tuesday you already had the episode edited.
Not all the time.
To slack.
Not all the time.
Wait till you get to work. Double dip. Of course, it's a lot easier to do that over there. You just got 4 laughing monkeys in the other room. Much to do. You just got to edit it together by the end of the day for a podcast. Lobbing poop bombs across the room.
A hot take is the unpopular side of the big story of the day.
So here's what I need. We're scrapping the
hot
whole...
take. Jeffrey Epstein was a good guy.
Yeah.
That would be a hot take.
Hot take. Lee Harvey Oswald was just a librarian with a bad day at work.
That's just stupid.
The volcano doesn't just stop when you tell it to stop, Steve.
Right.
The take volcano has to empty out the lava, the magma, the ash.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's magma when it's below the surface. Then once it reaches the surface, it becomes lava.
Here's a hot take. You suck.
Fairly aggressive.
I've talked about this before. I'm not going to belabor the process. I have timestamps and I pull some audio that I forget about. I legitimately forget about by the time I pull these audio pieces to put together an intro and save them every week. And this week was maybe the most acrimonious audio pulling I've ever done.
So it's just
anger, nonstop. It was nothing last week, but you and me,
just
you
bickering.
telling me I'm stupid. Me telling you there was one, it didn't have time to make the intro, Steve, where you said you were going to make a rain barrel, and I said I can't wait to quit this podcast, and I wish
because of the rain barrel?
Yes.
Was that the final?
And I told you
final straw?
I told you to dig a well and shut up.
Dig a well?
Yeah, because you're talking about getting water and whatever.
Oh, okay.
We don't need to
I was going to say, out of context, that sounds like the old go jump off a pier.
So
it's not really an insult.
Yeah.
It's just something if you say it aggressively enough, people are like, ooh, they must really be fighting.
So yeah, it's always an adventure pulling those together and rehashing our past. But last week, in hindsight, maybe the most aggressive podcast you and I have had.
Good.
In terms of you and I, not you and I combining our forces. This wasn't a superhero team-up.
No. We were arch rivals.
We were
so
across...
it's like a Superman v. Batman?
Yeah, it was like the First Take, but somehow dumber.
Okay.
Where First Take argues about sports, which is
that's
already
Stephen
inherent.
A. Smith, right?
Yeah, that's Stephen Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman used to be Skip Bayless.
All right.
And they're arguing about sports, which is inherently trivial and dumb, right? And somehow, some way, you and I have managed to lower that bar and argue about rain barrels, Lee Harvey Oswald,
bridges on numerous occasions,
movie nights,
yeah,
bridges, like you said. There's nothing in this podcast we've argued about or debated that has an ounce of more importance than that show does.
Yeah, there are very few things that we agree on.
It seems that way,
in
right?
Life.
It definitely seems that way.
And that's not just for this podcast either.
Yeah.
It's not like we, before we hit record, we say like, all right, we're going to talk about the baseball game today.
Sure.
What side are you on? Are you a Yankees guy or are you a Red Sox guy?
Yeah.
Because I'll take the other one.
I don't know, and I don't think people believe that we do.
No.
But
they look, they can see our hatred for each other. But they can see right through us.
It would almost be easier if people sent in ideas or questions, about fundamental issues. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, and not political. We've made it pretty clear. We're not deep diving on politics. We'll talk about it in the Fast Five, but that's it.
Yeah.
But if people wanted to send us issues, Steve, common things, questions they've had. Do you prefer the Wendy's Square hamburger or the McDonald's Circle hamburger? Shape, not taste.
Yeah.
And do you think...
I think I'm partial to the round burger.
Do you think we would fall in line...
Yes.
...with more or less than 50% of those questions?
Oh, no.
Because how have we... It seems like we have found... And granted, it needs to be said, the only things we debated are absolutely intergalactically dumb.
And it's weird, too, because the things that we disagree on, for the most part, neither of us are casual about them. They are hardline, really important things.
Which is, now if you are sitting, you're at a campfire, let's say there's a lull in conversation. It's you, it's, maybe a couple sets of friends, one maybe you don't know that well or your friends brought them, whatever. And it's quiet, and it stretches on for a few seconds. Do you think you could find anybody at an 8-person campfire who, if you said, suspension bridges suck, you could then have a somewhat civilized and organized discussion and debate?
No,
or would they just look at you?
Yeah, and not because I couldn't find someone to agree, but because no one has ever thought of these thoughts.
Has anybody?
Except for you and I.
There's never been...
We agree on this. Hey, look at us. Coming together. The Venn diagram overlaps a little bit more.
The only reason there hasn't been a something about something, Tate, is because Steve's been waiting for Friendship Cast, and we just can't come to terms on anything.
No. Nope, not at all. It's too difficult.
It's too difficult. It is weird. It is weird because we've dug heels in, and I don't know if it's stubbornness. It is. I don't know if it's stupidity. It is. Nobody has such a strong take about horses. Nobody has such a strong take about covered bridges.
Yeah, or about ice cream.
Or creamsicles versus popsicles.
Yeah, or steaks.
Or peppermint patties. Like, this isn't normal stuff.
But those, 6 things that we just mentioned there, that's 80% of our content.
That's the crux of our show.
For 160-some episodes, that's all we've talked about. And throw in a random article about a surfer.
Yeah.
That's 90%.
That's it. The rest is minutia. It's more meaningless than an argument about steaks. If you can somehow fathom that.
Yeah.
Maybe we just pivot. Maybe you and I do a 180. We sit down here in 3-piece suits and we have a discourse on the political climate of today.
All right. I'd have to get a suit and learn about things that are happening. But yeah, I'm in. I'm totally in. Do we still call it the Steve and Kyle podcast, or do we change it to it has to have a more newsy sounding name?
America's Tomorrow with Steve and Kyle.
America's Tomorrow.
Zach, Nikki, Philip, I'm thinking...
Start drawing.
I'm thinking red, white, blue, just 3 stripes down the center.
Oh, I like it.
And then on either side would be, little Steve, little Kyle on the other side, both kind of headshots wearing the top of our suits. You see it cut off like portraits.
I think it's on the left, it's me at a podium, and on the right, it's you at a podium, like we're at a debate.
Oh, and then, in some fashion around that, it's America's Tomorrow, the Steve and Kyle podcast.
Yep.
We need to add it to the list for Lispin. It's burgeoning. Bursting at the seams with potential as we add podcasts left and right to Lispin.
It is Friday, August 23rd, 2019, the year of our Lord. It's the Steve and Kyle podcast. Short podcast alert today. A lot of stuff going on today. But there was a new sports tape today, right?
Yeah, I've become kind of the podcast king this week.
It was 40 minutes long, too.
Well, so we record Sunday morning, you and I did, for this past week's episode. And then I turn around on Tuesday, the day of that release, and record my sports tape, get it all loaded, or even Monday night. I forget when I even recorded it.
I thought you said it was Monday.
Monday night, yeah. And then here we are Friday, again.
Back at it.
So I'm opening all these documents because I have, a document with all of the stuff I either want to get to or how I'm going to load it into our hosting platform, and I'm losing dates. I'm like, wait, what is today? Why is this document in the future? So yeah, new sports tape came out by the time you're hearing this last weekend, longest one to date, and in my point of view, I think it's my best.
Yeah,
I think so.
I'll have to listen to it. I saw that.
I wouldn't. It's not that good.
Okay, that's not a good commercial for you for your own podcast, but hey,
I said the best. That doesn't mean it's good.
So it's the best of the 4?
I'd argue it's top 3.
You've done 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
You heard it, folks. Today's podcast, top 3 out of 4.
If that's not going to get you to download, I don't know what is.
I love the logo, by the way, because I have.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
I'm subscribed to the Steve and Kyle podcast on YouTube. So whenever I sit down and I pull up YouTube on the TV, it'll show my subscriptions and like whatever new content is ready. So I hit that button today and I just see first thing there, Sports Tate with Kyle.
Oh.
Little volcano picture.
I love that
Finger in the
logo.
air. Very nice.
What did I receive a gut check today, though? Because, and I'm not kidding you, this honestly, I'm brimming with joy lately on the internet. Mm-hmm. And that goes alongside me saying I need to delete the internet, the social media from my life.
You got to get rid of it altogether.
It's toxic. It's a cesspool. I am very deeply considering just deleting Twitter, at least temporarily, uninstalling all of them, just to kind of disconnect from that environment that I contribute to. And I'm not saying I'm not a factor. I argue too much on that platform. It's a waste of my time because I'm arguing with a faithless entity I'm never going to meet or see, who's never going to change their mind. It's dumb. I know it's dumb.
It happens to everyone.
Nobody needs to
everyone. It happens to absolutely everyone. Perfect example of that is anyone who's ever commented on a TV station's news story.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's like puppy rescued from a well.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great story. Why was the puppy in the well? What kind of idiot owner let their puppy fall down a well?
Does anybody want to let the puppy die? Is that worth it? Is that my tax dollars?
Bet that puppy's a Trump supporter. Should have thrown him down further in the well.
Now, before I even had a chance to say anything online or on social media this morning, we talked about it last week. I was able to finally get you into the hot take summer.
Yes.
You launched yours last week.
Hashtag hot take summer.
Our friend James DeRaid tweets this morning at about 7 a.m. to me.
Oh, no.
Hey, it's Friday. Hot take summer. Fills me with joy. Hot take Friday. So, and I know they're about to be unleashed. And I got in a handful today. I'm not going to go through them all. It's very fun. I love it. I love the participation.
Do I have to do another one, by the way?
You don't have to do anything. I told you I'm done asking anytime. The internet's a cesspool, Steve. You should just leave it all together.
Okay. So I got some bouncing around up there. In
Listen,
the brain.
I'd love to see a part of it.
When's Hot Take Summer end? Is it Labor Day?
I would argue 2 weeks.
Okay.
But Hot Take Friday as part of Hot Take Summer. People. So I'm getting bombarded. My phone this morning. Bzz, and 10 minutes later. Bzz, and I look.
Is it,
and
so
it's hot takes.
So it's people dropping hot takes
Yes.
or people asking for your most recent hot take?
No. Nobody's asking.
Nobody cares.
I don't know. Nobody cares. I've talked about like.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. People unleashing them, and I love seeing it because it's some of the people do it when they're announcing their times, and then they do it, or they're announcing, hey, it's coming shortly, and they do it. Other people are just unleashing them. Hashtag Hot Take Friday, hashtag Hot Take Summer. Again, I'm not going to go over all of them; it's excessive. But search the hashtag on Twitter, and I'm that fills me with joy to see that. Mm-hmm. I love it because it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's just
They're nonsense.
Dumb. The internet and the world doesn't need hot takes, but I love it because it's, and it's not really promoting conversation per se, but it's fun to see these. There's some that I've seen. I was like, I haven't thought of that. That's a good point. And there's others. That's really dumb.
What'd you think of my hot take last week?
I loved it.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't agree with it. I'm not the arbiter on whether...
It's funny how many people get mad at them.
Well, here's what happened.
Love it.
Here's what happened with you.
It's just complete trolling.
Because I like to see this, and again, I'm digressing directly. Your Twitter's different. Because you'll publish the show on Tuesday, you'll tweet it from your account.
Yeah.
But I think, to what? 95% of your followers... they're blind to that.
Yeah, exactly.
They might see it and they're like, oh, whatever, move past it. Mm-hmm. But when you tweet,
like an actual tweet,
you get more engagement. So you're actually tweeting this hot take, and 95% of those people have no idea it's related to this podcast or this.
Although I think I tagged the pod. I think I tagged you and the podcast.
Yeah, you did, and I think it's just I think it gets glossed over because
matter.
Who cares? Yeah. They don't care. They see Steve from the radio show.
Yep,
and they're like, oh, he's tweeting, and it's actually something that's not like
that's
a
not
plug
promotional.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
So they're seeing it, and they're like, why does Steve hate beer now? And people are just mad at you, and it's like, and that's what I
liked it. One person replied, they're like, I thought you were a brewery guy.
Yeah.
Why? Why would you ever think that? When have I ever said, I love going to breweries because I'm a beer guy?
Yeah.
No, not at all. Most of it tastes like garbage.
There it is.
Hot take.
It's out in the ether. I loved it. I loved it because that's an actual hot take, and we're still struggling. Still struggling. We had this discussion a couple of weeks ago when we started talking about releasing hot takes, about how people aren't really understanding what a hot take is, and they're just saying, well, it was last week. People are just saying, vaping is vaping in a car isn't cool. Okay.
It's not really a hot take.
It's not a hot take, and that's why you heard that in the intro.
The hot take is the unpopular side of the popular opinion.
We're still seeing that. I had to reprimand a listener this morning.
Okay, good. Very good.
And say that's not...
temporarily ban them or something?
Yeah, and then I remember it, and I just unban them.
Temporarily
I'm very good at that. Very good at remembering to unblock.
Yeah.
So let me actually try to find that one very quickly because... Oh, there it is. Okay. I announced this morning once I saw people contributing, happy Hot Take Friday. Let them fly. Don't let the take volcano get pent up. And listener of this podcast, Jacob Rhodes, replied, people that talk on speakerphone in public are the worst.
It's not a hot take.
And I get it because people...
That's something that everyone agrees with.
Right, and I think the problem is people are seeing hot takes, and most of the hot takes are this is dumb, or this is good, or this is overrated, or this is bad. Mm-hmm. So they're thinking, okay, well, this is bad. I'm going to say that's a hot take. It's bad. That's not the definition of the hot take.
No.
I just need people to ratchet up the temperature. Go from medium to high.
Yeah, make them hotter.
And if you're baking, turn it to broil. Okay?
Oh, I never use the broil. I've only used the broiler once on our oven.
You gotta do it. Get that nice crisp on the top.
Yeah, I made brochure in the broiler.
Did you?
Fantastic.
It's a nice tool, underutilized. I'd argue least utilized tool in the kitchen. The broil function on the stove.
It's a hot take right there.
That's for free. The rest of them are free on the internet. So, but I as I said, I digress. Because I announced this, I'm filled with joy this morning. I see other people contributing. My best friend Chris Morgan, who lives up in the UP, joined Twitter. He texted me yesterday. I joined Twitter just because you talked about the hot takes, and I want to be a part of it. He unleashed one this morning to help along with Hot Take Summer.
What did Chris have to say?
The Mona Lisa is ugly AF and should not be popular.
That's perfect.
That's a hot take.
That's so good.
That's what I'm talking about. That's a painting revered as one of the most beautiful paintings in the world history.
Because everybody thinks that.
Yeah.
When you, especially if you ever go and see that, if you're ever at the Louvre in Paris.
Yeah.
That thing, how big do you think the Mona Lisa is? You probably think that it's about the size of that Rocky poster.
Yeah, I would even think that's big.
It is maybe the size of my computer screen here.
Okay, well, that's ridiculous.
Tiny.
Are you serious?
It's tiny. It's, maybe a foot across by 18 inches.
And let me make it a bit crass, if you will, for a moment.
Please do.
About the Mona Lisa. Because everybody reviews it, like we talked about. It's one of the world's history's greatest paintings. If it's 1999, Steve, and you're on your dial-up internet, and you're trying to download one image to assist your teenage self to finish the job.
Yeah.
And you have two options. And it's Pamela Anderson or Mona Lisa herself. There's no question.
It's going to be Pam Anderson.
It's Pam Anderson.
I mean,
the Mona Lisa's ugly. Thank goodness it's finally out there.
Look, so for all of you out there that are concerned that your hot take isn't hot enough, run it through that filter.
Yes. Always question, is this as hot as the Mona Lisa is ugly?
Or is this as hot as 1999 Pamela Anderson is hot?
Those are your two barometers for if your take is hot enough. Is it 99 Pam Anderson?
All right. Philip or Zach or Nikki, you need to design a thermometer
from Mona Lisa to 99
to 1999 Pam Anderson.
99 Pam Anderson's probably, 5 years after her prime? Or was that right in her prime?
No, that pretty close, I would say. It's close enough. Yeah, probably
right?
I bet mid-90s. That's when Baywatch was, early to mid-90s, that's when Baywatch was on.
It's close enough.
But yeah, if you can design that, maybe work in a hashtag hot take summer.
Yeah.
Obviously, don't make the Mona Lisa or Pam Anderson look too much like them because legally,
I'm not paying a dime.
We can't. Maybe just Yeah. You know what you're doing.
So again, I'm brimming with confidence. My best friend is now joining in on the hot takes.
Well done, Chris. I love it.
And I get a reply. I retweet that and I say early morning hot take coming in. And our new listener who binged, Mr. Jeff McDonald, tweeted at us that he was binging
Jeff Bean McDonald?
Jeff Bean McDonald was binging the podcast. He rightfully corrected my confidence that was brimming. He replied to that tweet. And he didn't announce at the start that it was about to be a hot take. He did at the end. It's not really a hot take.
So to be a true hot take in true Stephen Kyle hot take summer fashion, you have to announce, like, hear ye, hot take on its way.
I don't want to put that many rules on it. It's already out of hand. You don't have to do anything.
It's a fluid thing.
Yeah, you know what? I retract what I just said. Sure, this was a hot take. I didn't know it was a hot take going into it because I thought it was just.
So were you hoodwinked?
You'll find out. Okay. I wouldn't say. I don't know if hoodwinks is the correct term. I would argue hurt is the correct term.
Okay.
After listening to every episode of the podcast. By the way, podcast is one word, McDonald. Sorry, that's a little bit of residual anger coming out.
That's all right.
I thought that Kyle didn't need Steve to do a podcast until I listened to Sports Tate. I was wrong. You need Steve. Hashtag Hot Take Friday.
Oh, boy.
That is the first real kick in Sports Tate's groin area.
I'm kind of surprised it took 4 episodes to get
I think it's just general.
Based on the terribleness that is the internet. You would think that within 1 second of releasing a podcast, you would get people telling you to kill yourself and
why would anybody listen to this? And people now see that I have a podcast in my Twitter bio.
Oh, you got it in your Twitter bio? Can I be like...
You do too.
Can I be... I know, but do you mention Sports Tate?
Nope.
Okay.
So anytime
can I get like an executive producer credit on Sports Tate? It's like when you're...
Do you want to do some production?
Or? No, but it's like when they bring in the celebrity on a movie and they say, yeah, he was also the executive producer. Was he really?
You know what? Let me update this. Well, behind the curtain, little biz talk. Let me update my one-sheeter.
Because you have outro, like you have a music bed that plays at the end.
As I close up shop.
You kind of do your, hey, thanks for listening and follow me on Twitter.
How would you like it written? I'm right here. Like this podcast is proudly executively produced, or do you just want
the
executive
Stephen
producer?
Kyle podcast, or the Sports Tate, a
Stephen Kyle, a Lispin production, or a Stephen Kyle podcast production?
A podcast inspired by the Stephen Kyle podcast.
Not at all, but I'll write it. By the Stephen Kyle podcast. Okay.
Is proudly, immaculately,
wow, another comma,
and expertly, executively produced by Steve.
All right. It's in the one-sheeter.
On Twitter.
Oh, boy.
And Instagram at no PH in Steven with a V, obviously.
Yeah. Okay. So I have in full Sports Tate, a podcast inspired by the Stephen Kyle podcast, is proudly, immaculately, and expertly executively produced by Steve. On Twitter and Instagram at NoFinStephen.
Yes.
Okay. It's there. You're right above the accreditation so I can keep free music from KMAC. And I'll leave it in.
But you have to read that as well. Over the
I don't even read this. You have the sheet, and I essentially copied this.
Yeah.
And I just deleted your Twitter and handles and all that stuff. It doesn't make sense. And that's not me to be rude. It's just that I'm reading stuff for Sports Tate that I'm doing.
Right. But I mean, seeing as how I'm the executive producer.
Well, now it's back on. Can I do it like all the other sports talk shows? So you got your afternoon show where it's, one or two guys who are, what you can call, air ready. Like they're the more on-air personalities. And they always be like, Jim, hey, Billy behind the glass. Behind the Glass Billy. Hey, what do you think about this? And it's always the same. It's, Billy
And
would
you just hear it. Yeah, boss, I agree.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that one.
My boss, Don Mattingly, was the best.
And that's it. So if you want this statement at the end of my podcast,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to need you to, maybe you can just record like 10 of them. Be like, NFL's cool. And I'll just drop them in the middle of episodes. Okay. I'm like, yeah, Steve, what do you think of that? Me likey foot bass too.
Foot bass.
Well, I mean, the idea would be that you're a dumb producer who only knows audio waves.
Basically my job when I was at the NHL.
Yeah. Like, oh, Steve, did you see that?
Can you get so-and-so from the Washington Capitals on? Yeah.
Hey.
Of course I can.
Hey, Steve, did you see that wrister from the circle to the glove side cross?
Boy, did I.
Yeah, that's a brand of glove you're talking about. That's a big one. One with a net in it. Have you ever been more out of place in a workplace than that?
No, to be honest, I wasn't out of place.
There was other people there who were who were more radio inclined, who weren't NHL inclined.
I was out of place there, but not because of the hockey aspect of it, but because it was an office, like it was a 9 to 5,
oh boy,
wear a shirt and tie type of place. That's why I was out of place. How's that computer working over there? By the way?
Boy, I don't know if we want to get into that.
Kyle's in the market for a computer.
Yeah, dirt cheap.
Dirt cheap.
Because I don't need one. Here's the honest to goodness reason, Steve. I need a computer. Only reason I need a physical laptop computer is this podcast. I do anywhere between 40 minutes, 30 minutes and an hour of actual, editing for this podcast every week. That's it. Top to bottom, that's all it takes me. I can't do it on a tablet. I can't do it on a touchscreen thing. I can't do it on my phone.
Katie have a laptop?
No, her Mac. I believe we messaged you. I think it was like 2 years ago about this thing. She's on the fritz, and on the fritz was generous. It didn't work.
So it never turned back on.
No, she brought it to the Apple Store. The whole thing's corrupted. It's gone. Her laptop's gone. A couple years later,
so she doesn't even have it anymore.
Nope. Okay. A couple years later, this thing is gone. So I'm prepared to spend a couple $100, not a penny more, simply because I don't need it.
You mean you're prepared to spend $40, not a penny more?
This podcast,
and it better be a good computer.
This podcast has been in the red for 3 years and 4 months.
Yeah, 40 months running.
We're on our third studio. The only thing we have nothing good. The best thing we have a pretty nice mixer and some decent microphones.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all we have to show.
That's all we need. We see people that spend thousands.
Oh, it's stupid.
And thousands of dollars.
Can you imagine renovating part of your house?
Wait a minute. Oh, crap.
No, it's in the past. We're okay. We're clear.
That was also a budget build. This one, APS 4.0, that's going to be a little bit more of a... I think it's going to be a bit more of a commitment.
Uh-huh.
Any day now, or...
I tell you, I haven't opened that door since the last time you, for some reason, told me to go over there and open the door and look at the same room. Is it? Have you been working back there?
They do say the best time to start a studio build is 3 weeks before your first child is
You're
born.
going to be home for a week, right? Baby girl Steve is going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be home for a week, which in Steve time, which is different than Bob time, is going to feel like an eternity to you without doing anything.
I'm already antsy. I didn't work today.
Do you think it'll be a week? I think we've asked you. A week, maybe more?
I guess depending on when.
Personal
when the baby
recommendation?
arrives. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks.
I don't think that's too much.
Here's the thing. And I'm on vacation next week.
Okay.
For the radio show.
I'm gonna go give her a scare. Maybe knock her loose.
I will be so mad at my child.
If she comes during vacation?
If she arrives. Like, if Annette goes into labor today, That is my worst case scenario.
Because your whole vacation's ruined.
Whole vacation's ruined, and we're starting off on the wrong foot there, kid.
I mean, because you couldn't possibly take the following week off.
No.
Got to go back.
Got to go back. You know the slave drivers I work for?
Listen, you heard in the intro, 4 monkeys throwing feces at each other. You got to have someone to clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't do it itself.
No one else knows how to do anything.
Hours of cleanup. Steve just in there with, the Mr. Clean magic white sponges.
Yeah, the magic erasers.
Cleaning another 4 hours worth of feces off everybody's walls.
I'm surprised that when that studio was built, they didn't just do it in concrete. So we could just hose it down after every show.
Every day. Just a bucket of hot water. Hook your hose up. Just lob the water. Some chemical spray. You just throw a sheer tarp right over the microphone and expensive equipment.
Yeah.
You give that knowing look on the way out every day. Another day at the office. Walk past the office on the way out. I can't stop. I don't know why. I really enjoy lobbing just absurd accusations at your coworkers.
Uh-huh.
People I know, people I worked for and I know.
Yeah. Dare I say, people you like.
It gives me joy to be able to do that. Oh, is it a good time?
I'm sorry, people you like.
Fast Five. Okay. And I don't know if we might have to cancel the Fast Five again, and I apologize.
We can do it. I can go
I
back
have
and,
something that
I can go
we-
back and edit that also. It's seamless.
I have something that we teased last week that I have to get to. Do you want me to bump that? It's not time
No,
urgent.
no. I do remember. It was right at the end. It was something.
But it's not urgent. It's not urgent.
No. I need to know.
I could do it next week.
I need to know now.
I could do it.
Tell me now.
Stay tuned.
To 1 second from now.
Next week, Tuesday. Okay, Steve, I have a question for you. And I need to know what it would take to make this happen.
This is an offer that you had for me where you want me to be involved in something that you're planning on doing.
Yep. There's some give and take.
By the way, we must get to poll results. I know that you were trying to push that off because of anger.
I'm just trying to push off me quitting this thing. Okay? Everybody thinks I've been joking. And I texted you.
I texted you with my sympathy saying, I legitimately feel bad for you.
It's ridiculous. Everybody listening to this thing, get in line.
I haven't checked it.
Because
maybe it's swung back in your favor.
We're fist fighting. The whole lot of you. I'm done with you. I can't do this anymore. If my name's in a poll, or if it's found out that I'm on one side of the poll before the poll is posted, it's the inverse of your deal at the radio show. It inherently goes against me. And I'm done with it. I don't even want to recap it. I'm not going to state my opinion. Read your results. Get your yucks in about, all these all these buffoons voting against me because I'm not on your monkey poop throwing show and they don't know me as well. Go ahead.
Ooh, poll results haven't changed, by the way.
Oh, wow. Who could have guessed?
All right, so you had an offer for me or a proposal?
Let's just do the poll results. We're already here. I'm already mad.
No.
We'll get to my offer. Do your stupid poll results so we can get
it.
Yeah.
So in last week's episode, talked about cul-de-sac movie night once again. And I can
remember how you talked about like 6 things make up 80% of this show.
This is one of them.
That's one of the new ones. It's carving out its own slice of that pie.
Yeah. So we had talked about cul-de-sac movie night once again, and I compared it to you hosting a neighborhood haunted house in your garage on Halloween. I said they're exactly the same because you were giving me crap for wanting to host movie night. I compared it to when you host your haunted house. You disagreed. We left it up to the smartest group of people we know our listeners. Is Kyle hosting a haunted house the same as Steve wanting to host cul-de-sac movie night? Explain below. With 66% of the vote, yes. Yes, it is the same. Comments?
Nope. 4 months.
Well, just over 4 at this point.
4 months.
So what are we going to get to then?
Till I can leave this.
Another 16 episodes,
this
roughly.
Trope. This house of dumb cards. It's like if every card in this dumb house that we have were those cross-eyed jacks. And they're all built crooked. It's barely standing. 4 months left until this whole thing can collapse and I can set it on fire and never think about it again.
So we'll get to roughly 180 episodes.
Great.
Now, I think the one thing we can agree on is we're not going to announce it's our last episode.
Nope.
We'll even tease stuff that's coming up next week, and then that show will be uploaded, and then we'll split up the responsibilities of deleting all social media.
Yep. Yeah, and
deleting all trace of us from the internet.
We'll obviously have spoken about it off air, you and I, about how we, hey, this is probably the end date, right?
Yeah.
And it won't be the first time we encounter a hardship. Like, we've had weeks like this week where we're recording on a Friday.
Yeah.
And it's just a comedy of errors to get us to this point. And it works. In a few months, might not work.
Mm-hmm.
I think once
We're
that happens,
fine with that.
Once that happens 4 times, 5 times, a little more common.
Yeah.
Maybe you and I have a meeting behind closed doors.
Maybe there's a big dust up.
Yeah. Wouldn't be the first.
No.
I mean, you and I have nearly come to blows over this thing.
Uh-huh. Every week.
Distribution, percentage of, the merch cut. Please understand, I'm 100% joking.
What was it? I think the one time we actually had money in the coffers, so to speak. Yep. What did we buy? Like 1.5 microphone stands?
1.5 shock mounts. 1.5 shock mounts.
It cost like $22.
Yeah, and we counted our shekels. Pinched our pennies, dug in the couch cushions.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to put that money in a nice interest-bearing account.
We could have got a nice 18-month CD out of that thing. Maybe.
But no, you had to go spend it all willy-nilly.
Well, yeah, just be glad your head's not bumping into that microphone like an idiot. It is funny, 160 of these things, though. 160 plus. We've never even had one minor disagreement about this thing.
No. I mean, we disagree on nearly everything content-wise. But, behind the scenes, I think we get along better behind the scenes than we do on this stupid podcast.
Some would argue that this podcast is a hindrance to our friendship.
Yeah.
Because now I leave here,
right,
and I spend minutes of my day thinking about you with a stupid rain barrel out back, watering daisies.
Now, first of all, let's not confuse the people. You use the word friendship. I mean,
well, it's definitely not a business relationship.
No,
because a business of this caliber would have been dissolved 140 of these ago when it became clear being in the black was not something that was in the future.
We are merely acquaintances based on proximity. We're like Penn and Teller. You ever hear Penn and Teller talk about their relationship?
Yeah.
They're not, they don't consider themselves to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
They're business partners. They simply have the same goals in mind.
Sure.
They align themselves with each other to achieve those goals.
And I would also hesitate. Again, I would caution against using the word business.
Yeah.
We're not successful at anything.
No.
We shipped out 1 billion T-shirts 2 years ago and made $4. That was the 1.5 shock mounts.
Yeah.
We made $41. Enough to pay for 1.5 shock mounts for the microphones that we purchased.
Yeah.
Yeah, the day's going to come. I'm going to walk in. We're going to decide it's done. I'm going to grab my half of the mixer, half of the mic,
Cut it in half.
half of the table,
The Rocky poster.
half of the candy, and we're out of here.
Hit the bricks.
And then I'll check in with you on Christmas next year, send a card.
No, you won't.
Yeah, Katie will.
Do you guys do Christmas cards?
We didn't last year, but with Reed now, being, and at that point, Christmas cards, we would have had to, get a picture done, which we had newborn pictures, but by that point, it's November, you have a 2-week-old, a little hard to get a turnaround and addresses. We probably will.
I told
this year.
Annette, I was like, I think because we're going to obviously have a child this Christmas. I was like, I think we kind of have to.
I think I've been thinking about this. I think there's some things from the yesteryear, if you will, different generations that in 40 years won't exist.
Yeah.
And I think one of those things is going to be Christmas cards. I think one of those things is going to be like get well cards, bringing food to people who are ill.
Yeah.
I just think those are going to be part of a bygone era for us.
You're probably okay with that, though, right? Yeah. It involves communication with people.
No, cards are nice. Don't have to see anybody.
Right, but I mean,
slap a stamp on her.
But if you really didn't want to associate with them, you just wouldn't send any card.
Yeah.
So it's like the laziest form of communication.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Here's a take for the road, if you will. A hot take to go this week. And it goes along with what you're saying. High school reunions are the most worthless form of get-together known to man.
So I'm assuming you've never been to one.
Nope.
I've never been to one either.
If you wanted to keep in touch with these people, you can.
30
years ago, Steve, high school reunions, sure, I understand.
Yeah.
50, 60, whatever. Especially when this country was in times of war. People were being, shipped off overseas to work, coming back, moving around, families in different areas. Then it makes more sense when your only communication is a mailed letter. But we're in 2019, a billion types of social media. The only way people, hook up nowadays is through swiping on an app. You can get a hold of anybody you want. 98% of the people, if you wanted to talk to them, you can. Mm-hmm. You have that fraction who they've wiped their footprint. They try to stay off of it all. Why do you need a get together with all of them when you could just communicate with them if you want?
Yeah, my class, the class of high school, Cinnaminson High School class in 99, when the year that I moved here to Michigan, we had our 10-year anniversary, our 10-year reunion. And it was like Thanksgiving weekend or something, so I wasn't home for it.
Okay.
Couldn't go to it. But this year, I just passed the 20-year anniversary of graduating high school.
Yeah.
2 months ago. I haven't heard anything yet. So I don't know.
It must not be happening.
I don't know if it's not
by
happening
now.
or if I'm not invited.
Oh, I know what happened. Ray's on the planning committee.
No, I didn't go to high school with Ray.
Oh, dang.
Nope.
That would have made sense.
Did not go to high school with Ray.
You want to know how I reacted to my high school 10-year reunion invite in 2015? And it wasn't a formal invite. It was somebody planning it, reaching out on Facebook.
Facebook group, yeah.
Sending me a message because I didn't, leave my info anywhere. Saying, hey, what's your address? Getting these sent out. I blocked her. I didn't like her in high school. I didn't like her in elementary school.
Well, you could have just said like, sorry,
no, don't reach out because it's always the same type of message to it. It's like, oh, hey there, we're planning this. No, listen.
Looking forward to catching up.
You're sending me a form letter. You're sending to everybody. I haven't kept in touch with you because I'd rather go eat a bowl of dirt than have one more word exchanged with you. Okay?
Seems a little harsh.
I'd rather chop down on the metal side of a shovel and have one more conversation with you.
Wow. Those are strong words.
I don't need that. And I've said that for a while. Anybody I've wanted to keep in touch with since high school, I have. It's not a difficult concept.
No, I mean, I agree with you to an extent. Plus, at this point, I'm 600 miles from where I went to high school.
Yeah.
So I'm not making a special trip.
No.
Now, if I happen to find out that, like, I'm going to be home for 4 or 5 days at Christmas, and in that time, there's a casual get-together at the bar that everyone goes to, which I can just go there on a Friday or a Saturday night, and it's a high school reunion anyway, because that's, like, the That's the town bar. That's where everyone goes. I could do that. But yeah, there's no chance I am making special travel plans to travel 12 hours to go see people who I haven't talked to.
Right.
In most cases, I didn't talk to them in high school. I mean, there are...
Exactly. And I have... What would I catch up about? Oh, got a job, huh? Hey. So that's changed.
There's a select handful of people that if I were to run into them, I'd say, it's great to see you.
Mm-hmm.
But I graduated with 175 people. 168 of them. Oh, hey. Remember
Kem?
Homeroom?
It's stupid.
Crazy, right?
It's silly. And it's this weird... It's the feeling of this, well, we have to reconnect. No, you don't.
Yeah, no,
you don't. It's non-essential. So that's a take for the road this week, Steve.
All right, now if you could get to the offer that you had for me.
I am not kidding. I have to go.
Boy, it feels like I was hoodwinked there.
Well, read those poll results. Kyle's probably wrong about that too. So, anything else? Wrong side of them the last few minutes, or I'm kidding you. Burn the studio to the ground.
All right, this outro music is like 2 minutes. Can you fit
I don't
it in?
have time. No, this is a whole segment. This is 8-Bit next week.
You heard that first. The 8-Bit next week, folks.
Again, I'm sorry. I hate to keep pulling back the curtain and talking showbiz. I mentioned the one-sheeter earlier. Not a thing. I've now mentioned the 8-Bit. Also not a thing for this podcast. So, yeah, 8-Bit next week. Stay tuned. I have a proposal for Steve that I'm willing to barter to get you to do. I don't know what we're bartering back and forth, but it's the 8-Bit next week. And we're going to figure out what I need to do to get you involved.
All right. That'll be recorded 9 days from now.
Just bated breath, Steve. Just you sit and wait, man.
You can check us out on social media, all social media, at Steve and Kyle. Call or text your questions, comments, or concerns, 424-30-SK-POD, 424-307-5763. Talk to you next week. Probably a normal length episode. Oh, my God.
Closer.
By the next time we record, I could be a father.
You could be a father. I'm definitely going to have a garage door. We've got already...
Oh, yeah. There's no chance anything's going to go wrong with that.
You know what? We already need to bump my proposal to the following episode. Too much to get to next week. We'll talk to you next time. Happy Hot Take Friday, everybody.
Coming summer 2020. Finally get to that proposal.
And the Vegas story.
And your latest student loan payment.
And my student loan payment.
That was on the list for a while.
Yep.
All right. Talk to you next week.
Cheers Trivia, summer 2020.